everyone, I'm Keisha Charmaine and I'm back, and I'm here for my first video of Veda. I'm doing a video each day in August, so I'm just hoping that I can stay committed to this video a day challenge for August. And in this video I'll be talking about entrepreneurship. This is a question that I commonly get, and I typically try to not answer it because I feel like as I am still in the beginning stages, I don't feel like I'm necessarily the go-to person to give out tips and things. However, I do feel like I'm getting the hang of things and I can give my 2 cents for someone who is looking to get started, especially if you're trying to get your entrepreneurship built off of social media. I think that I am pretty equipped to give you guys some of my tips and advice. And no, I'm not sitting on my desk. I'm sitting on a really high stool, which I can't put my feet under the desk, so I'm sitting crisscross applesauce. All right, so I have notes in front of me if you see me looking down. So the first thing that I want to let you guys know as far as becoming an entrepreneur, I think that's really important that you do as much research as you can in your industry. So you want to know your audience, you want to know your customers, you want to know the whole field and see where you fit in as far as your gifts and your talents and what it is you want to do exactly. So if it is that you want to be a social media influencer, then definitely I would study social media influencers who are doing what it is that you want to do. So me being a natural hair influencer, I'm going to be following natural hair influencers and who are successful, and I can, you know, pick their brains even if it's not directly, by asking them direct questions, especially since they tend to have a lot of followers. They don't necessarily get back to everyone, but I do study them, watch their videos, see how they edit, see how they take photos for Instagram and things like that. My brand, I am trying to branch it off and have it more lifestyle and more beauty as well. I really want to get into fitness as well, so I'll also follow beauty girls, makeup girls, lifestyle vloggers, and fitness vloggers as well. Okay, there's also going to be areas in your business that you are not strong in. You know your strengths. That's important. For the things that you're not strong in, obviously try to learn it as much as you can, but for some things it's just beyond your understanding. Definitely hire people. It's okay. For instance, when it comes to graphics, the cover of my book, More Than a Hair Journey, The Black Woman's Guide to Self-Love and Life Maintenance, I didn't design that cover. I had a photographer take photos for me, and then I had a graphic artist create the cover, and I'm very pleased. I'm sure that I would not have been able to do what he did on my cover, so I'm really grateful. Shout outs to Curtis Bryant. Know your strengths. If you have your talents and abilities, make sure you use those, but if you don't, hire somebody to help you out. Now my next tip is to invest in yourself. I mean, a lot of times people, you know, create their startup campaigns and have their Kickstarters and GoFundMes. I mean, I find that if that works for you, cool, but I feel like people tend to put their money in things where they see that you're already not necessarily established, but you're already investing in yourself. You're already, you know, putting your own money into your brand, for instance. Which leads me into my next tip, which is to, I'm sorry if you guys can hear, I think someone's mowing their lawn. Stay organized. Keep track of your expenses, because at the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, you know, you're going to file and hopefully get refunded. I mean, the thing is, when it comes to being a business owner, oftentimes we don't get really big refunds as other people will get, because they, you know, they pay their taxes in each check, and we don't pay our taxes each check, each payment, or things like that. So it's really good to stay organized, keep note of your expenses so you can claim those things. And you also want to save money from each of your payments so that you can put that aside to pay your taxes when it comes down to tax season, if you end up having to owe money, which is likely. I recommend that you have several bank accounts. Me personally, at this moment, I have 4. I have my personal checking, my personal savings, and then I have a business checking and a business savings. Yeah. So also have a business credit card. The business credit card is the GOAT, is the key. That's what I'll use to pay for anything that I need. Maybe my oils for my hair shop, the materials for my lock accessories, lighting equipment and cameras and things like that. I will use that on my business credit card so that I can pay it off as I can, as opposed to paying out of pocket for everything. My next tip is to not quit your job. Don't quit your job until your business is thriving enough that it can pay all your bills and then some. I think that's really important. Personally, I did not do that, but I quit my job kind of because I was, in a way, I was kind of forced to do so. I was too depressed to stay at my job. I was going through a lot at the time. I was too depressed, and I was over it. I couldn't commit to it anymore. So then once I was able to, like, you know, get myself more motivated, I dedicated my time to my business and helped that grow. During that time was when I was writing my book. So yeah, now I'm in a more comfortable position. Granted, I am blessed. I am still living home. I do live in New York City, so it's not like how it is in a lot of other cities where people can get apartments for $500 or anything like that. Yeah, right. You can barely get a room in New York City, rent a room in an apartment for $500. Like, if you're lucky, I don't even know if you can do that. Like, I know people who rent rooms for $1,000. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to stay here and save up my money. I'm about to buy a car, so that's my priority. Eventually I'll move out, but I'm lucky enough that I do have support from my family that I can stay home. So if you're fortunate enough to have that opportunity to stay home while you're building your business and you're saving your money, definitely do that. Obviously, well, it's not obvious, but I definitely do contribute to the household, so it's not like I'm saving everything, but I'm still able to save a lot more than I would be able to save if I were to have my own apartment. I literally can't afford to have my own apartment, but I don't want to struggle. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I'm doing now if I were to live on my own, so definitely keep that in mind, especially if you guys live in one of the bigger cities that are more expensive, like New York, like LA. Yeah. But for those of you who are already out on your own and you're not trying to start your business, definitely have a game plan. Save as much money as you can from your job. Put in your notice. You want to leave your job amicably, just in case you kind of want to get back on the job if your business doesn't take off as quickly as you need it to. So keep that in mind. Another tip I have to say is stay motivated, because there are times when, you know, money isn't guaranteed. You know, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, money isn't always guaranteed. You're not always going to get sales, or you're not always going to get sponsorships as for social media influencers. You're not always going to get sponsorships. Ads from Google here on YouTube may not add up to what it did last month. So sometimes those things can be discouraging. So I do recommend that you do all that you can do to stay motivated. What I like to do is read. Right now I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again. That book I find to be very, very motivating, although it's very outdated. You know, I feel like the book was clearly written for old white men, and it was written like back in the day, so that the examples they give of the success stories are very, very outdated. But you can listen to the audiobook. I do listen to the audiobook on YouTube as well sometimes, and the audiobook has editor's notes inside, and it has more up-to-date examples of success stories that you will probably be able to relate to more. I also like to listen to motivational videos here on YouTube. I like Tony Robbins. I like his story. Iyanla Vanzant, I love her story as well. Who else? Oprah, obviously, you know, but even smaller scale, people who aren't famous, just YouTubers give their stories. Actually, Latoya Forever here on YouTube, she's one of my favorite YouTubers. I've been watching her since the beginning, since she had like a couple thousand followers, and now she has 1 million on like each of her channels pretty much. And I read her book. I remember I read her book on a flight, and that was definitely motivating for me as a YouTuber who's trying to use my YouTube outlet as a part of my entrepreneurship. So so look into people who are successful in your field and hear their stories to help you stay motivated, because if they can do it, you can do it. And lastly, but not leastly, last but not least, know your worth. Now, especially when it comes to providing a service, or if you're here on YouTube, for instance, say you're a hairdresser, okay? You're a hairdresser, you have your hairdressing business, and you have a friend who wants their hair done, but they want a deal. I mean, I understand, you know, that's your friend, you want to give them a deal, but sometimes that's not okay, especially when you're in the beginning. You can't really afford to be giving people deals left and right. Like, let's be realistic. So know your worth and know your value, and don't accept less than what you feel like you're worth. For instance, being a social media influencer, I get emails on a daily basis, tons of emails on a daily basis, where people would just want to send me stuff, and in exchange they want me to promote it on YouTube or promote it on Instagram. I don't think that's fair, especially when it comes to the production value that I have, the equipment that I use, and especially my followers, my engaged followers. Come on. I know my value. I have my rates. I have my agents who help negotiate my rates and stuff like that. So I'm aware of the impact that my platform can provide for a brand. So I'm not going to, you know, give you like this fancy production YouTube video for a product that you're not even paying me for. Like, I don't think that's fair to me. So I won't do that. So that's another example of knowing your worth and knowing your value, and don't accept less than what you feel like you're worth. So that's it. That's all the tips that I have for now as far as entrepreneurship. I'm still in the early stages. As I get more established and get more success, I'm sure I'll have more tips for you guys, so stay tuned. And thanks for watching day 1 of my Veda vlogs. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Love, light, and locks.